Hey, Mike.
Yeah, what's going on?
Do you know there's a better way to experience music today?
Why, yes, I do. Campfire Audio makes top-notch quality earphones for music lovers alike. Whether you're a musician, producer, or audiophile, Campfire has the perfect product for you. Campfire Audio springs from a passionate focus on refined audio reproduction. With a small team of highly skilled and dedicated craftspeople, they continuously experiment with materials and techniques to create something unique and special for the people who care most about it.
Prototypes turn into a world-class earphone. Each model in their earphone line is designed and assembled by hand in Portland, Oregon's workshop. Their earphones are second to none in performance and finish. With their new plastic models, Satsuma and Honeydew, Campfire Audio has designed a day-to-day earphone for the audiophile on the go.
Let's not forget its flagship model, Andromeda, an award-winning industry standard.
Rest assured that when you purchase a Campfire Audio earphone, you're the proud owner of a world-class product from a company that is confidently standing behind everything it creates.
That's right. Check out campfireaudio.com for all your high-end earphone needs. That's Campfire Audio, CampfireAudio.com for all your high-end earphone needs.
I'm doing that immediately. Hey, Mike.
Yeah, what's going on?
Guess what? Our favorite sponsor is back.
Oh, it's the puzzle dude from Unidragon.
Hey, you know, everyone faces a problem. What gift to choose? What to give a friend or parent? How about that wife or husband? Or what about that child or even that colleague at work?
I know what you need to get them.
What's that?
Wooden puzzle.
Wooden puzzles like Unidragon solve this problem.
Get the owl.
Why do people love Unidragon puzzles?
Because each piece has a unique shape.
Mike, do you know that Unidragon now has nature puzzles?
All right, we need more owls.
Now they're small, medium, king size, and royal size, so you can get 7 times bigger than the standard puzzle. So if you want to get upgraded in your puzzles, now's the time to go to unidragon.com. Again, that's unidragon.com. Don't be fooled by other imitation puzzle makers. Only get your true puzzle from unidragon.com. They're the best, and they're the world's leader in wooden puzzles. TechTime listeners, use promo code DRAGONTECH. Again, that's DRAGONTECH for a 10% discount code. They're no longer 3 sizes, Mike. Guess how many there are now?
They're 4 sizes.
That's right. They're 4 sizes. Make sure to visit techtimeradio.com/sponsors and click on the Order Now button to go directly to Unidragon. Our #1 sponsor says thank you.
That's awesome. We need more owls.
Coming to you from the shores of the Pacific Northwest, keeping you up to date on technology, while enjoying a little whiskey on the side, with leading-edge topics, along with special guests, to navigate technology in a segmented, stylized radio program. The information that will make you go, Pull up a seat, raise a glass with our hosts, as we spend the next hour talking about technology for the common person. Welcome to Tech Time Radio with Nathan Mumm.
Welcome to Tech Time Radio with Nathan Mumm. I'm your host, Nathan. We got Mike Roday here. David.
Cool, I really like the owl.
Mike likes the owl. Mike likes the owl.
Yeah.
That's right. There's 4 sizes.
You apparently like bowling shirts.
Oh, I know. Isn't this a great shirt?
No.
No. What are you talking about? This is like fantastic.
You look like some sort of weird creamsicle that a monochrome creamsicle.
Dude, you know what? If I wore this in a bowling alley, I'd have people come up to me and ask me for my autograph because I look so cool. Not because I have a Tech Time Radio show. Okay,
yeah,
all right.
That or maybe you populate bowling alleys a lot and nobody knows. Are you some sort of...
No, I'm not.
Fred
Okay,
Flintstone?
welcome to Tech Time Radio. You're listening to 2 hours of technology talk. You may think you're listening to sports radio, but no. We are on Saturdays from 4 to 6 p.m. Thank you so much for joining us for 2 hours of the best technology news for the week. Now, if you're trying to catch us on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, not 4 to 6, and Sunday, you're catching a rebroadcast.
Dun, dun, dun.
So I just want to make sure that you can go to techtimeradio.com and keep up on all the latest information, because after our show is broadcast here on Saturday, we have a great group of people that put it together on Sunday, and then you can rewatch it Sunday and Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday.
I think
Thursday.
we get it.
Was that?
I think we got it.
You got it? Okay.
I think so.
All right. Okay. Well, we got a packed show today. Let me just tell you. All right. On the show today, we got hackers are going nuts for a $20 mouse that can become a Windows 10 admin, and we're going to be talking about that. So
yeah, that's fun.
Isn't that really cool? We talked about that. We have Blue Origin's rocket. We're going to be talking about that a little bit in our top stories in the first 5 minutes. We have Trina L. Martin, a 10-year cyber intelligence analyst, joining us on the show.
Okay.
Now, last time she joined us on the show, there was a little bit of problem. So I promised her today that we got everything worked out. And
we had some sound issues. I think,
we did.
Oh, no pressure there. Thanks.
That's right. So let me just tell you, we'll start throwing stuff at David if we get it working. All right.
We got an empty bottle here.
We have a round table. This is our second round table. We did the round table once. We have it back. And I'm really excited about the round table because it's all of our staff. So we had a great subject that we talked about. I'm not going to tell you what the subject is. So you're going to have to wait for our round table. But we have a very great conversation, discussion, a little bit of argument. And so we're going to bring on our younger generational individuals to help explain to me what this thing's about in our discussion. And then you'll be able
clueless.
I was clueless. Absolutely. So we're going to be talking about that. Then we are going to be doing Mike's Mesmerizing Moment. I can't wait for that. That's the highlight. I wait for. Brought to us by StoriCoffee. That's right. Do you have? I'm all out of StoriCoffee. Are you all out of StoriCoffee?
No.
No, you got some still?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I didn't drink any coffee while I was sick. So.
Well, you were sick?
Yeah,
okay.
so I was too busy.
So
sick.
At the end of the month, we get a new deal. So I'm kind of hanging on, and I had to do a little bit of. I didn't get any Star crap, so I didn't get any Starbucks stuff. But I have a little bit of Dunkin' Donuts that I've been filling that. And then, of course, we have our NFT. You going to do an NFT today?
No.
Okay, so we'll know an NFT. And then in the second hour, we have our letter segment. We have our Microsoft, what it's like back in the 90s. We've got about 20 minutes we're allocating for this. This is the year 1998.
Did we get through 1997?
Yeah, a little bit, but there wasn't a ton that happened. 1998, a huge amount happened. So this is great for my life. A lot of stuff happened at Microsoft. We'll be talking about that. And then we have Phil Hennessy is going to be joining us, again, the principal at Morpheus Tech, and we're going to be talking about tiny homes.
I like tiny homes.
Do you like tiny homes?
Yeah,
Do you know that 10,000 tiny homes are being produced a year right now?
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know that one.
So it's growing. It's a huge expansion market. We're going to be talking about technology. What type of technology do you put into that? And so that we're going to be excited about that. And then we'll probably have some jokes and some funniness that we have throughout the day also.
Never.
No?
We're completely serious here.
So if you'd like to get a hold of us, you can call us, but we don't have any time for you today. But we just want you to call us at 425-373-5527. David won't answer. Or 1-888-298-KKNW-5569. David won't answer. But you can always reach out and be a part of our show. We're glad to hear that. All right. Let me start.
You're getting some odd responses over there.
All right, I'm getting some odd responses.
Yeah.
Am I on the feeds?
No.
No, okay. All right, here we go.
Behind the board.
Behind the board? Yeah. Is he putting fingers up? No, he hasn't.
Not yet.
Maybe. There he's go. Okay, here we go.
He's going to.
What would be a good name for a new board game? That is your loaded question of the day, Mike.
I would love to see a board game named FML.
FML.
F My Life.
F My Life. Okay.
Yeah.
And what would it be?
I don't know. It would be like different from life.
Different from life?
Yeah.
So you got the life board game where you spin and you go around and
you go around and it F's your life up everywhere.
Oh, so everywhere you go, it's like
everywhere you go,
thing?
like
lose an arm. Okay,
yeah.
In car wreck, lose an arm. So then your character only has one arm, and you go down.
That would be don't you think
Acme
that would be?
Breakout.
Don't you think that would be an excellent game?
Acme Breakout.
You break out with zits on your wedding day or something.
Something like so just like a horrible game that makes you like.
Yeah.
So if you play it, then you feel better with
I don't
your real
know.
life? Okay.
You just asked if I what.
What's the name of the game again?
FML.
FML.
Yeah. F My Life.
F My Life. Okay. All right. Brought to you by Mike Corday. All right. Well, now that we got our loaded question out of the way,
there we go.
We have not even started drinking our whiskey yet, but we'll be doing that on our first commercial break.
I'm looking forward to this.
Let's start with our top stories in the first 5 minutes.
What's happening in the world of technology? This is our top stories in the first 5 minutes.
Story number 1, Razer has a bug that lets you become a Windows 10 admin by plugging in a mouse. So this is Razer Company.
I want to know how this happened.
All right, so we're going to talk about it. So you can gain admin privileges, Windows admin privileges. Now, I did this. So I had a test account that I created that was not elevated permissions. It was the basic user level permissions. And this works in both Windows 10 Home and Windows 10 Pro and Windows 11 Home, and Pro. So all of the new operating systems.
all
that
the
are
new
there.
one too.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, it doesn't work probably in Windows 7 or Windows 8. I don't even think Windows 8 exists. They kind of erase
Do people use those anymore?
No. So here you got to first off go, and best of luck, because let me just tell you, Amazon just sold hundreds of these in the last 2 days. So it's $20. You get yourself a Razer device. If you plug it into Windows, it will load the Razer Snap software on the computer.
Mm-hmm.
So as you know, you plug in stuff.
Yeah, plug and play.
It comes on up and it says, oh, Windows is detected. Well, essentially with the Razer, it will auto-prompt you to load the Razer Snap software that allows you to configure the hardware device, set up macros, and map the buttons. So if you're playing video games and you play video games on your PC, sometimes it's nice to have mapped buttons. So you can do different things, right?
I routinely remap buttons.
Okay. So Razer is so excited about this because they claim that the Razer Snap software is used by over 100 million users worldwide. So 100 million people can be compromised. So Razer's installation allows you to gain system privileges. Essentially, when you log in, if you choose, you have to choose to install into a different directory. You know how it comes on up and says, do you want to install into C drive / program files, whatever it is? You have to choose a different directory. When you do that, then you have to do this combination, which is a little bit of a combination that makes it tough. It is, you have to choose the folder. You then press Shift and right-click on the dialog box, and it'll prompt you to open PowerShell.
Okay.
So PowerShell is this back end that's like DOS,
but
it has the ability to do power commands and scripting commands and different stuff.
Okay, so what you're saying is that if I buy a Razer mouse, I'm not going to just plug it in. It's going to give me access. I have to actually do some things.
You do have to do a couple
to
things.
create a system.
Yeah,
hack.
but you only have to shift right click, and guess what? The shift right click works on other applications too. And I won't tell you all the other applications that I tested this with, but I think this is more kind of a Windows bug. But Razer and other companies are finding out how to do it. So it opens PowerShell, and then from the PowerShell command, you can take over and create system privileges and upgrade your user account to direct admin.
Okay.
So Razer was reached out.
Do I care?
Well, I think you don't necessarily care, but it's just something that you need to be aware of because you can glitch. If I bought one of these and we go out to dinner tonight and I put it into your PC, I could get access to it. So if I'm a hacker and I wanted to get into somebody's computer in a company and I walk through the front door and I have a mouse in my back pocket, I don't have to have a big briefcase to go on in and gain.
Wouldn't you have to
access.
have admin permissions to load that onto the computer?
No. Well, no, because when you do the plugin, it automatically prompts for it. So just as a user account, it's going to prompt you to install this, and it overwrites the admin. Some admin user accounts, you can remove stuff so you can't go and download apps. This, when you plug it in, it does it through the auto-update feature of Windows to load this driver, and it comes automatically up.
Okay.
All right. So
Good
be
to
careful. Now, Razer said they were reached and asked if there will be an issue with the fix, and Razer says they had no comments. When Windows was asked about it, they said that they're looking into it. So I always find these people that have no comments. You should just say, I'm looking into it. Microsoft must have a way better PR company. It's
kind of like taking the fifth.
Yeah,
right?
just say, you know what, we're looking into it. Looking into it is a very simple way of saying, okay, oops, we screwed up, and we'll see what we can do. Now, you're going to want to stay with us because we're going to be talking about two-factor authentication in our second segment with Trina, so that you're going to want to talk about this, and this is more of this breach stuff. But story number 2.
All right.
Blue Origin rocket to fly for first time since Bezos' trip to space. Now, we just love
Did he make
Amazon.
it? Did he make it?
Yeah, well, whatever. He made it. So, those two billionaires, all these billionaires trying to say they go to space. So I guess if you lose...
You're still on that whole...
Yeah, I don't think
you're not there. There's not space unless they're in space.
Yeah, they got to go to space. You can't just go out of the atmosphere, whatever.
That's space.
So, okay, so this time, though, they are not bringing it in a snow joyride. They're actually working with NASA to have small payloads. So essentially, the co-founder, Jeff Bezos' historic 10-minute trip to space is not what this is, because this is actually going to go to space. So Blue Origin's New Shepard rocket will essentially, thank you, David, taking a mission to carry 18 commercial payloads inside the capsule, and a sensor mounted to the exterior will test a bit of the lunar landing tech for NASA. So NASA is a part of it. Also on the payload, listen to this, there is art. So Bezos is saying that he has the first space art. So he's sending art up.
This is just getting ridiculous.
So he's sending art up. This is like NFT times 20. I now have the very first space art. So there's portraits of an artist.
You know what
Buffeo.
what the next one's going to be?
What's that?
Who can pee on the moon first?
Oh, that you think so?
Yeah.
But isn't that like wouldn't that like just make a cluster though? Or would it just float in space?
We're talking about marking.
Well, you got
territory.
me way going over.
We're
Okay,
talking
here we
about
go. All right,
marking
okay.
territory here.
So here we go. So essentially, this artist made a picture of his mother, a friend's mother, and it's in space, and then it will be coming back down to be sold as space art. And people are going to pay billions for this.
Joy.
Isn't that just amazing? All right.
I can't wait.
Story 3, though. Speaking on Blue Origin. Jeff Bezos' new Shepard Estes rocket goes on sale for $69.
That's the model.
So essentially, have you seen what his rocket looks like?
Not until you showed it to me.
Okay, when I showed it to you, what's the first thing you thought of?
I think Jeff is compensating for something.
That's exactly right. So essentially now, for $69, I can buy a model that's 1/66 scale that will shoot 400 feet in the air.
Yeah.
And this is their ad. Nothing's better than getting the Blue Origin's new Shepard rocket that will shoot and send you streaming into the air with total pleasure. Seriously,
I think they think that Jeff's compensating for something.
So I cannot get it. But now the Estes website says that you also need to purchase a C6-3 or C6-5 engine
packet
because it doesn't come with the engine to shoot it. So I guess you pay $69 for the model.
Have you ever done model rockets?
I have actually, yes.
So you always have to buy the engine separate.
And then you have the launch pad you sit in front of and it sends a little thing to it and it goes right up. Yep. All right, that is your story.
I've never had anybody tell me that sending rockets up in the air was pleasurable, but hey,
Yeah, that's their marketing. And where can you buy this? On Amazon.com.
Yeah, of
there
course.
You go. All right, we're going to go into our first commercial break. When we come on back, we got Trina that will be joining us. She's going to be talking about some security practices and two-factor authentication, dual-factor authentication. Okay. We're excited to have her back. And then we have a great roundtable on Gamer Time. We're going to be talking about a significant thing that happened today in 1963.
Okay.
August 28th, 1963. Go Google that, and then that will help you know what we're going to be talking about on our roundtable. All right. We'll see you here after the commercial break. Hi, I'm Nathan Mumm, host of TechTime Radio with Nathan Mumm on KKNW. TechTime Radio's live show is Saturday from 4 to 6 p.m., and you can always check us on the web at techtimeradio.com. Our segmented stylized radio gives you the breaking news before it hits mainstream media. Join myself and Mike Corday as we'll make you laugh.
That's good. So, Hooked on Phonics worked for you, didn't it?
It did, just a little bit. And learning something new in technology. Join us Saturdays, 4 to 6 p.m., and Thursdays from 6 to 7 a.m. The Technology Show for the everyday common person.
Hi, this is Lisa Downs, host of Reigniting You, the show that takes a positive, forward-looking approach to mid to late career transitions for Gen Xers and Boomers every Wednesday afternoon at 3 o'clock Pacific. Whether you're looking to stay in the traditional workforce, do your own thing, or retire or semi-retire, Reigniting You is your source for career transition advice, inspiration, and insight for what's next in your career and life. Join me Wednesdays at 3 o'clock to get re-energized, recharged, and reignited.
Welcome back to Tech Time Radio with Nathan Mumm. We just had our first whiskey tasting, and we are tasting today the Glen Moraine Original. That's what it is, right? Is it Glen Moraine?
Sure.
Okay, original. It's produced by marrying the delight spirits that emerged from Scotland's tallest stills with the first and second fill American white oak casks. All right, it's born and designed from the casks in Missouri with a raw spirit that develops a perfect balance between sweetness and complexity. $49 a bottle, 86 proof. What was your first?
Not bad. It has a really interesting burn, but
it's not bad now.
There's like an apple taste.
There is, isn't there?
Yeah.
It was I took it though, and I was expecting it to be something a little different, and it was like, oh, it hit me hard.
Maybe it sat out too long.
Yeah, maybe we just have to drink it quicker. Is that what you're saying?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. That's always a good thing.
That's always a good thing. I don't know if I'm going to give it a thumbs up or thumbs down, but I do know what I'm going to do is get ready to start our next segment.
Okay.
Welcome to Technology Insider. We get the information directly from the source.
All right, at this time, we are bringing up Trina L. Martin. She is going to be joining us today to talk about some security aspects, and we are making sure, look at that. Let's see now. 1, 2, 3. Trina, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Perfect. Yes,
Oh,
we
lit. There
can.
we
Look
go.
at that. Look at that. All right. Let me tell you, David was more nervous about you being on the show, making sure it worked than any of the times we've had so far. He's like, last time. I'm like, yes, I do. All right. So welcome to the show. You're going to become a part, ideally, of our program once a month. So this is kind of a recurring role that we're going to have with you. Isn't that correct?
That is correct.
So we are excited to have you on, and you are our security expert that enables us to talk about items for our everyday common person. So you can break it down instead of us computer nerds talking. You can break it down and have it a
You're
little.
the computer nerd.
I am, and so I try to keep it a little bit lower. And then every once in a while we have Nick Espinoza on
And
or
you
with
just
Phil, and we just
completely
go
nerd out.
Yeah, and then everybody says, "Guess what, Nathan? I didn't understand a word you said." And I'm like, "I'm so sorry." All right, so Trina, welcome back to the show. Tell us a little bit about what we're going to be talking about today. We kind of talked about some breaches earlier with the Razer mouse, but let's have you kind of lead our segment here when we talk about some security items.
So I am glad to be here. Thank you guys for having me back. I'm glad that everyone can hear me today, so that's a good thing. So today I am going to talk about two-factor authentication. So whether you know what that is or not, you're probably doing it in some form.
Okay.
And what two-factor authentication is exactly what it sounds like. Is the second layer of security to validate your identity to get into your account. So this can happen. So either one is with something that you know or are given, such as a PIN, okay? Something that you have, such as your phone or a security key, a hardware security key, or something that you are, meaning biometric. So a lot of our phones, you can do Face ID or you can do your finger. So what two-factor authentication does is when you go to your account, a site, bank account, whatever, you're usually going to type in your username and your password. But you need something else to actually get into that account. So not just the password is going to let you in. That's where the two-factor authentication comes in. Now, it could be one of two things. It could be text-based. So a lot of accounts you go to and it'll say, okay, you put in your username and your password. We're going to send you a 6-digit code to your phone. Type that into the website, and then we know that this is truly you. Then the other is same type of concept, but yet you have an app on your phone that has rolling 6-digit keys that you go to whatever that key is for that site and you type it in and it validates you. Now,
so let me ask you about this. So
Yes.
a couple of us have that. I'm sure Mike has that. I have a Google Authenticator app, then I have a Microsoft Authenticator app.
yes.
Are those better to use those than the text messaging authentication, or is it about the same? What's the difference between those two?
I'm glad you asked
Okay.
because I was going to get to that.
Perfect.
Now, the Authenticator apps are better than the text-based apps. Now, the texting codes. Now, the texting is very common and a lot of sites, accounts, whatever, use them. Now, with the text-based, it's open to cybercrime, which means SIM swapping, text spoofing, phishing, all those things that basically somebody in the middle can grab that and pretend like they're you with that code and access your account. So according to NIST, which is the National Institute for Standards and Technology, they're the authority on all things technology and how to do it, what to do, etc. So according to them, having that app, that Google Authenticator or that Microsoft Authenticator that you spoke of is actually better because you're not waiting for something to come to your phone to be text to you. You actually have that app in your hand and you can get that number that's randomly rolling to enter your account. Now, I prefer the app as well, either the Google or the Microsoft Authenticator, just for those reasons. Now, recently, I have come into myself as a little bit of a problem with the two-factor authentication.
Okay.
And this is something I want everybody to be aware of. I got a new phone.
Okay.
Okay. I had the authenticator's on with several of my accounts in there. Well, I wiped the phone, gave it to my daughter, got my new phone, and hence there was no account set up in the authenticator. So I had to go to each one of these accounts when I remembered or encountered them to remove the two-factor authentication and reset it up, which sometimes can be a pain because some places say, sorry, or you got to actually reach out to them. So that can be a bit of a pain. So before you wipe your phone and give it to someone, make sure that you transfer that app with all of your accounts over to your new phone, or else you'll be stuck like me in days of trying to remember everything that you had in that app, or as you come across your accounts, you'll have to redo it.
So, Trina, what type of phone do you have? Do you have a Google phone or an Apple phone?
I am Apple all the way.
Okay, so if you have an Apple phone, you can actually transfer. There's a way to transfer this information.
You can do that with an Android,
and you can do that with an Android too. Both of them, depending. Well, the Samsung app makes it much easier on the Android if it's a Samsung phone than if it's a Pixel or one of these other ones. It's a little bit more difficult, but you do want to transfer it, because if you don't, you have to start all the way over. I've had to do that. I learned the hard way the first time also. I have an Apple phone. I went from an Apple 4 to an Apple 7 device, and when I went to that, I forgot to do everything, and I had to go on in, and there was a couple of accounts, like you said there, that they wouldn't allow me just to disable dual factor authentication. I had to actually contact their support, had to give them a phone number. Thank goodness I still had the old phone. Now, if I would have sold that, if I would have sold that online to somebody else, then it would have been even more painful. There would have had to been a whole bunch more work to go through.
Mm-hmm.
What's that?
Absolutely.
That's just my old guy thing coming up and being like, why do I need all this crap going on in my life, where I have to have a password, a name, a password, and then I have to wait for a text or an authenticator app to
here's why you need to do it. Here's why you need to do it.
Is it going to be like triple or quadruple in some time in the future?
Well, yes, because if you irritate FireEye and they try to hack into your site, not that I've done that.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna. Yeah, I knew you were gonna bring that up.
So I hate FireEye, and I always talk bad about them on the radio, and they just continuously hack away at my WordPress site. Best of luck to you guys. I've made it even twice as tough. I have to have authentication two-factor. I actually have a picture logo that I now click on. So I have an additional logo, and I have to have my username and password to log on.
So for those of us who aren't ticking off hacking companies or security companies and
That's
stuff.
probably smart.
Yeah. Do I need all this stuff?
So let's ask Trina, should you, if I have an opportunity to have two-factor authentication or not, and I know it's sometimes a pain for me to set up, why as a consumer should I take the time and enable two-factor authentication?
Well, as I said, that's just an extra layer of security. So we like you mentioned, everybody's been hacked, right? And if you haven't, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So if someone's got your password, they can go in and say, okay, here's my username and password. They have already got access to your account. But if you have your password plus you need something extra to validate, that just gives you that extra buffer to keep your account secure. And if you have a choice between whether or not to do it, I would always err on the side of doing it, because it just makes it harder for the cyber criminal to get in. Now, if you have some devoted criminal, they'll probably be able to hack into that too, or they're going to try, but at least you want to, make it hard for them.
I have this dystopian fear of, we're in years down the road where it takes us 3 hours to get into our account because we have all these authentication processes to go through. And we all starve to death. And
well, because you'll probably, what happens is you'll get like these USB cards that actually have encryption information that you stick with, and
like your wallet.
Well, that's like your, my
crypto wallet.
My crypto wallet. So great information to have. What is the best app that you use? Because you can consolidate some of these. Would you use the Google Authenticator app, the Microsoft Authenticator app, maybe a third-party authenticator app? Trina, what is your recommended go-to dual-factor authentication application?
There's several. There's Google, there's Microsoft, there's LastPass, and some others. I personally like Google. I think you can't go wrong with either one of them. And for those who haven't used them, it's easy. You can just hold your phone up, scan the barcode that they have, or if you feel like being challenged, you can type in the security key to do that. But I always like scanning the code. It's just whatever you want. I actually sometimes you have to have both. So I have both on my phone because you'll go to some Microsoft
Office 365.
Right, Office, or like my LinkedIn, and you have to use the Microsoft Authenticator. Mostly everyone else, they give you a choice of choosing whichever app you like, whether it's Google or Microsoft. So it just depends on your preference.
Okay. And let me just tell you, if you're a company that enables two-factor authentication and you're a sales staff and is in the middle of the night, you keep on getting alerts to let someone log into your machine, don't hit OK on the thing, because if you do that, that gives people access. I worked at a company and we had a bunch of salespeople, and he was like, he calls us the next day in technology. He calls me up, and I don't want to say his name is Jim, but it was Jim. And I won't say his last name, and he lives in Puyallup. But so
man, you're really riding the line today.
I want to say what copier company you worked for, but you can find my LinkedIn on which one I worked for. And essentially, he calls us the next day and said, "Man, what were you guys doing all night? You kept on waking me up with this authentication." So I just finally hit OK. I'm like, what are you doing? You just gave this guy in overseas access to your account. Oh, well, at least it stopped bugging me in the middle of the night.
See, I'm going to talk about that later. Because
Are you?
That's the problem with all this technology stuff. We'll talk about that.
Okay, we can talk about it. Trina, thank you so much. Well, give us a little tidbit. What do you think you're going to talk about next month? What do you think?
Ooh, I don't know.
Okay, well, so you're gonna have to come back to find out what she's going to talk about next month.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Well, we're excited about that. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you have a great day, and this worked out perfectly.
Thank you for having me, and I'll see you next month.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. All right, well, we're going to take a break here. That was a great thing. Two-factor authentication, enable it.
Yeah, as irritating as it is.
It is. You need to enable it. If you're not going to do that in today's world, you will be hacked. And it's not, as she said, it's not when you're hacked. You've probably already been hacked. It's just when you find out you've been hacked.
Yeah.
All right, when we come on back, we're going to
be technology.
Yay, technology. That's why we have a 2-hour show, because we have to help.
Yeah, our show is two-factor authenticated.
It is. Actually, it's three-factor authenticated.
2-hour authenticated.
That's right. When we come on back, we are having a roundtable discussion with our TechTime Radio staffers under the age of 30 are going to be joining us. Can't wait. We got Jamar, Alessandra, and Emily that will join us, and we have a subject that we're going to be talking about today, which is a perfect topic to talk about on August 28th, 1963, because our subject has to relate to that when we come on back. So we are going to see you after this commercial break. Mike and I are going to have some whiskey and get ready for our roundtable.
Did you know that up to 12 to 15% of Americans grind their teeth at night while they sleep? Yeah, it's called bruxism. I used to work at a sleep lab, and we used to measure that, and it leads to a lot of problems like headaches and destroys your teeth. It wears down the enamel, and it's just very hard on your mouth.
So every once in a while I'll wake up, my jaw will hurt. Do you think I'm grinding my teeth at night?
Yep.
Well, so how do you go about protecting this then?
The number one recommended way of protecting yourself from teeth grinding is what's called a night guard, which is a custom fitted prosthetic that you put inside your mouth. It usually runs, hundreds of dollars, but I know our sponsor, Smile Brilliant, can get you custom fitted night guards for as little as $45 a piece.
So if you go to smilebrilliant.com and use TechTime Radio at checkout, you can receive 20% off your complete order. So visit smilebrilliant.com and use the TechTime Radio at checkout code.
Welcome back to TechTime Radio. I am your host, Nathan Mumm. Mike Roday, David Brown behind the board. He's getting everybody ready for our next segment. Let me just tell you, August 28th, 1963.
Are you going to keep us in suspense any longer?
No, officially called the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom. This historical gathering took place on today, 1963, where 2,500 people gathered
at the Lincoln Memorial and more than 3,000 members of the press to cover this event. Now, let me just tell you, Martin Luther King Jr. is coming. Was that?
No, 200,000 demonstrators.
250,000.
Yeah, not
people.
250.
Oh, did I? Sorry, 250,000 people. Thank you very much. All right, so we had Martin Luther King is joining Battle Royale video game Fortnite. The makers of the gaming phenomenon are hoping to educate American gaming youth by creating the historical civil rights movement. We are having our roundtable come on up right now, and we're excited to welcome everybody to the show. We have Emily, Jamar, Alessandra. Do you see them all there, David? They are all coming up. There they are. Thank you, guys. And so this is exciting because this is some of our staffers that help us with our production. Every Thursday night, they join us to come up with our stories. The stories you hear about in the top 5 stories all came from these individuals. They submit them, we talk about them, and we got into a discussion that was phenomenal. I wish I could have recorded that meeting because it was a great discussion regarding where I was completely lost.
Because you suck at Fortnite.
I do. So let me just tell you. So Fortnite is a game I've played. I hate the game. All right, so let me just tell you, I try to play this game. I suck. So I don't understand why you have a first-person shooter. We're gonna be talking about Quake a little later. Quake 2 was a fantastic game. I was ranked 2nd in the world. Let me just tell you, and we're gonna be talking about that in the Microsoft segment. But let me tell you, Fortnite. I don't understand how I'm supposed to build a house out of wood and collect supplies and then still kill people.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And then move into the middle of the map.
I
want to hang out at the end.
Game. You know that, right?
What's that?
There's 2 versions of that game.
Okay,
right?
there's the Battle Royale.
There's the Battle Royale.
And that's where you have to move into the center.
Right.
Okay.
So that's where you're running around shooting everybody.
Okay.
And building houses really fast and
which
is crazy.
I don't get it. And then I'm getting sniped in the back of the head. And I have some guy puts in like TY, like thank you or good
GG.
game. Yeah, good game. It's
GG.
like, oh, that means I just died. Okay, thanks, buddy.
Yeah.
What's the second?
The second one is kind of like a zombie apocalypse type of thing. It's built around sort of the same idea, but you go out and you do missions and things like that. It's
and you kill zombies?
Yeah.
Zombies are like the best bad guy creatures. They have no brains and they eat everybody. What a great idea. It used to be vampires. When I was growing up, it was vampires were like the cool thing. Mm-hmm. But this I like zombies. Walking Dead. Yeah, Walking Dead. They're in season 11, I think, right now, right?
I stopped watching it.
Did you?
I did, yeah.
Did you get scared?
No, I just got tired.
You got tired of the same guy.
There's only so much you can do with zombies.
All right, so here's what happens. I start reading this article. I don't know if it was Emily or Jamar that put it on up there, or maybe it was Alessandro. It was one of you guys that popped it up there. I start reading this, and I'm like, listen, this seems like the stupidest idea ever. Here we got Martin Luther King Jr.'s speech, which happened today, and we didn't even plan it. So I just realized that as I'm coming on in. I'm like, oh, my word, it looks like we actually planned all of this, and that wasn't the case.
Wow, you're just going to throw us under the bus, aren't you?
But no, it wasn't necessarily the case. And then when I read this article, the first thing I said is, well, why didn't they do this in February? Right?
That's right. You did say that.
And then everybody's like, well, why would you think that, Nathan? And I was pretty
You want to keep going there?
Yeah, I was pretty sheltered in my comments. So, but doing research about it, and we're going to get into the discussion, this is a partnership with Time magazine.
Uh-huh.
And it actually has the approval of Martin Luther King Jr.'s what is it? Their estate, and essentially the King estate played an active role in greenlighting this.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I started listening to this, and then all of a sudden I had somebody say, "Oh, well, I watched Ariana Grande on this," and I'm like, "What are you talking about?" So we're gonna turn it into our conversational table here. So help me out again, guys. If I was in our Thursday meeting, I said, "What the heck? This is a game about killing people." And all of a sudden, you're going to put Martin Luther King Jr.?
That's the irony of it, is that this game is about violence, running around, shooting everybody
people
and stuff.
And why would you put this in there?
And you got Martin Luther King, which is all about nonviolence.
Yes.
Boom.
And then all right. So help me out here, guys. We're going to open it. Start talking like we did at the Thursday production show.
They're speechless.
Oh, so somebody talks.
Well, it does make sense that people who don't play the game religiously would be aware. Well, they would think that the game is more violent. I mean, even when I think of it off the top of my head, it's the first thing that comes to is the battle royale aspect. But they do have other aspects of the game that are not centered around the competitive nature. They just recently had Rift Tour, which is something they've done a few times. They've done it previously with Marshmello and with Travis Scott, and just recently was the Ariana Grande one, which I was present for, and I thought it was awesome. But it's not based off of the killing and beating each other aspect. In fact, most of it is a collaborative effort where you not only get to watch the visuals of the concert that they've prepared for you, which is super cool, but you also have to work with the other people that are on the game at the same time to complete mini games or tasks in order to get to the end concert. And so it's less about the violence and more about just the community effort, I guess.
Cooperative.
Okay. So like the mini game. So explain that. So somebody's going to have to help. Maybe Emily or Jamar is going to have to help me here. The mini games. Are these like Mario Party mini games, or you just compete against? Well, that's the only mini game I know is the Mario Party stuff, right? Man. So what type of mini games would these be?
So for the mini games for like the concerts and the events, they're not so much Mario Party type mini games. They're closer to everybody working together on a same project. So I wouldn't say there's so much as games as just collaborative efforts that happen to be fun.
It's the University of Phoenix model.
Okay, what's that?
The University of Phoenix is all about teamwork.
Okay, so
they have to do all kinds of group projects.
So now, is this in game, or is this kind of like when you log into the game, you can kind of go into a different section of the game?
Well, when you start the game, you have the option to do duos. You and other person. You can do the group. There's that section where you can choose how you want to play the game, like Mike was talking about, the zombie apocalypse one. For the events, there will be a specific button that you can press that's not always available, that is different from any other thing that is usually there.
Now are you walking around with your avatar? Is that what you're kind of doing? You're kind of walking around?
Yeah, you are yourself. You do get to decide how you look out of anything that you've previously purchased or is available.
So if I got like the
you would have a bowling shirt that was really bright yellow
with a balding guy.
So say if you wanted to go and see MLK talk, but you wanted to have your previously purchased Ariana Grande skin, you could be Ariana Grande watching the MLK speech.
Okay.
You can march on Washington as a cat person.
Yeah.
Well, so
there we go.
Okay, so I could
be. How is this?
I'm not a cat. Way to go, David.
Way to go. Way to be on the ball.
All right, so Jamar, have you played, let me ask you specifically, have you played Fortnite?
I've played it a few times. I've hopped on for a couple events.
And did you enjoy that?
Yeah, it was pretty enjoyable.
Pretty enjoyable.
Yeah, that's funny because
lots of
Go ahead.
Oh, lots of just it's a kind of a sense of community. Everybody just gets together and just either appreciate something, even though some people aren't there for the artist Ariana Grande or Travis Scott. Some people will just hop in for the rewards and hop out. That was one of the complaints I've seen people making, is just kids are just hopping in, not paying attention to the speech, just getting the rewards and hopping out.
So one of the things we talked about, is this a way to educate our youth? Is this a way to force them to do that? And you know what? Force them?
Well, obviously not, because they're jumping in and jumping
force.
out.
Okay, not force them, but you want to get those achievements, right? That probably gives you some
that's like doing
though.
your Twitch drops. You get on, you get your Twitch drop, you get off.
That's true.
It is a good point, though, with the education, especially because kids haven't been to school in how long? A year? They've not had a physical educational experience. And, there's a lot of science about just how video game experiences create stronger neural pathways, and it's easier to learn for some people, for especially youth. And so I think personally it's a really cool idea to have this really big educational but also inspirational and figure incorporated with this video game that kids are just lots of kids are addicted to it, so it's an opportunity for them to get multiple uses out of their everyday experience.
Okay, so I did a little. Okay, was that Emily? Go ahead,
Emily.
Well, I think our knee-jerk reaction is to kind of scoff at something like this, but we tend to forget that educational games have been a thing as early as like the 1990s, and it's something that we as adults wouldn't take into account because we know about this historical event, but the children who this game are generally aimed at wouldn't be aware of that.
So that brings up the question: is this really relevant? Is there a way that putting this into a game is going to make that relevant for that group of people?
So I don't know, because when we saw it when I was in school, we saw like a VHS tape of it, and it came on, and it was like a big deal in my history classes, right? So we like took the whole day, we talked about it, then we had to do a whole follow up, like a month project regarding this type of stuff, and it was really impactful. But I just don't think kids have that VCR come rolling into their room in grade schools anymore, or high schools, to watch that type of a video. So is this the new mechanism to get them to see that same experience?
That's the question.
If you look at things like interactive museums that you take children to, say for science classes, I think it's a bit like that, but virtual.
Yeah, they've created an entire experience around it, where the first part of the game is you will be landing in DC, and they've created this simulation of the actual setting where the speech took place. And I think for 17 minutes, you get to actually be there and watch the speech. And I think that's so cool. I've never even seen anything like that, even on an educational level. You see VCR, like you see the videos of things happening, but they've created an actual three-dimensional space that any kid can feel like they're there and experiencing it. As well as afterwards, there's a section where they will walk through a museum type thing and see the black and white live footage of the speech happening. So then they can get that dual aspect of it, of the creator's interpretation of what that looked like, as well as the actual footage.
All right, so on TikTok, there's a challenge. So I was doing a bunch of research on this so I could be ready to go. So explain this to me. There's a Fortnite avatar flossing the most during the 17-minute speech. So what does that mean? Does that mean you take your avatar,
you're doing the floss dance,
and you're doing a floss dance during it? So that seems like that's counterproductive. Is that something that someone just threw out there to be counterproductive, or why would someone post that?
Well, I think maybe we generally have a lot of adults that think it's kind of funny to go into this children's game and make a fool of themselves just because they don't think this is something to be taken seriously. The response to that by the developers was actually to disable emotes so that you wouldn't be able to do that. I think that came pretty soon after the TikTok was posted.
That is correct. Look, she's on it.
I also believe.
Was that Jamar?
I also believe some of that has to do with video games being a form of escapism. So people will just hop in these games to, just express themselves, even though it might not be in the most perfect time.
Yeah, this is part of that dystopian future that I keep talking about.
Is that what
yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. There's a lot of aberrant behavior that goes on in gaming forums.
So I can tell you that I was very naive. And I want to let my staff know that I appreciated our discussion, because they kind of slapped me around on Thursday and said, just because you suck at Fortnite and don't think the game's very good, let me tell you about all this other stuff. And you know what? I took the time, about 20 minutes, to understand more about this environment, and I would concur. I think this is a phenomenal idea. I do think it's really important, and something that I think other game companies should take care of. I play a lot of EA Sports games. Right, so if you actually did something like this, and I actually submitted something to EA Sports after doing this, saying it would be great to live in like Jim Brown era back in when he played, or go back and do a whole recreative time back in the 70s or 60s of football, and instead of being this new up-and-coming kid with all these new type of deals, and I have to deal with sneaker promotions and this and the new Madden game and NBA 2K games, I could actually go back and play like a historical time. I would be very intrigued in that too. All right, guys. Well, thank you very much for joining us. Hopefully you guys all have a great afternoon, and we'll see you guys busy. I'll see you tomorrow on Sunday when we do our video editing. I'll see the rest of you guys on Thursday. Thank you very much. We're going to head out to
thanks for having us.
Yes, thank you. We got a commercial break coming back. We're going to go right into Mike's Mesmerizing Moment. And our first hour is almost done, and our second hour is just getting ready to begin. I'm your host, Nathan Mumm. We'll see you after this break. Hey, Mike, as a business owner, why do we form an LLC or a corporation?
Well, that's pretty simple. We want to protect ourselves personally from the liability of the company.
That's right, Mike. The very next thing we should be doing as business owners is protecting ourselves personally from the finances of the company.
Right. Yeah, that's why you want to get help, and you can get help from the Business Doctor, which was founded by Dr. Glenn Smith, PhD in Business Management, Accounting, and Finance. Schedule your free business evaluation and consultation at thebusinessdoctor.us.
Enroll in the Rapid Business Credit Builder program and get up to 100K business credit under the company's EIN and the DUNS number in less than 6 months. The DUNS number is really important for your rating on when you purchase other items from other businesses, never having to use personal credit ever again. That's thebusinessdoctor.us or call 866-383-1030. Again, that's 866-383-1030 or thebusinessdoctor.us.
Visit the Business Doctor today.
This is Mike's Mesmerizing Moment, presented by StoriCoffee. Visit StoriCoffee.com.
Yeah, we were talking about dual authentication, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I can't even
Dual
think of
factor
it. Dual
authentication.
factor authentication, and here's where technology really starts to mess with humans.
Yeah.
Because the human is not designed for this type of stuff. They're not this whole idea. You had the story about the guy who that kept getting dinged and he woke up
And
he finally pressed OK.
Yeah.
And then you told him the consequence. He was like, I don't care. I got to go to sleep.
Yeah.
That is the epitome of human behavior right there, because it shows that there's a certain amount of discomfort that we are willing to accept to do all this stuff, but when we reach that threshold, we stop doing it. And we do this all the time. We do that.
You got a little upset trying to purchase a Microsoft a subscription just a couple nights ago, right?
I was trying to do something online the other night, and I couldn't find it, and it was really irritating me because I have to go through all these different channels in order to find what I'm looking for. Technology is supposed to make our lives easier. That's the promise of technology.
Yeah.
And it oftentimes creates situations that make it more difficult. And one of these is the fact that we need dual factor authentication for stuff, and it's going to be 3-factor and 4-factor. I was talking about this. I say that with a little bit of a tongue in cheek, but that's
true though.
That's true.
Absolutely.
That's probably going to come down the pike at some point when we have like 8G stuff going on and people can do things faster. We're going to be like sitting around typing all these freaking codes and things, just trying to get into our systems, and it's going to be a pain. And we don't like pain. We hate pain, and it creates these situations where we make decisions like, I'm just going to press OK and go back to sleep.
Yeah, and I don't get it too, right? I mean, it's the simplest thing. If we actually use dual authentication or 2-factor authentication correctly, we probably would never need to have anything else.
But how do we get that? How do we get that? So if I do this correctly, that means I have to come up with a screen name. I have to come up with a password that is at least 12 digits long and has all these different
funky characters,
and then that's supposed to be unhackable. But then they tell me, okay, you need to download this app that's going to give you a rolling authentication code, which I do. I have one for my Steam account. I have one from,
the most important things, right?
Yeah,
that's
right.
Do you have one for like your Origin account and
I have them.
Blizzard account?
I have them for all my
video
game
stuff.
Yeah, video game stuff. I have them for everything.
Okay.
But the fact is that I have to go through this painful process of setting this. It's time consuming and it doesn't make sense to a lot of people. And I'm like, why the hell am I doing this? All this stuff, and it's creating pain in my brain.
Wait till you get a new phone too, dude. And it makes
I hate that. I hate getting new stuff because
you have to
of
transfer
that
everything
stuff.
over, and then you have to retype in your passwords. You have to reload the apps, and half the apps you had on your old phone don't work on the new one.
Same thing as getting a new freaking debit or credit card.
Yep, you got to go put all the auto bill stuff, and all of it needs to be taken care of.
We didn't get to talk about 1998 either.
What's that?
Oh, that's later. Isn't it?
That's not 1998's next hour.
That's later.
Next hour.
Okay.
Let's talk about next hour before we do our votes on the whiskey. Our second hour, we have our letter segment. We have Microsoft special. What was Microsoft like back in the 1990s. We're looking at year 1998. And then we also are going to be talking about tiny homes technology with Phil Hennisley, the principal of Morpheus Tech, will be joining us. Now, Mike, what do you think of this $49 bottle? The Glen Morange Original. Is that how you pronounce it? Glen Morange?
Luke on Phonics work for you.
That's right. I'm reading that phonetically here. Glen
Morange?
Yeah, okay.
I don't know. I got in trouble with somebody else for saying something wrong, so
okay.
I don't know.
Would you give it a thumbs up or thumbs down?
I'm going to give it a thumbs up, even though I can't really tell because my taste hasn't returned
from
fully,
COVID.
So I get a lot of weird things going on.
I'm going to give it absolutely a thumbs up. So we got 2 thumbs up. Our second hour is loaded with great information. David's going to be so busy he's not going to know what to do. I am your host, Nathan Mumm. We got Mike Roday here, David Brown behind the board. We'll see you guys in just after the top of the hour for hour 2.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us on TechTime Radio. We hope that you had a chance to have that moment today in technology. The fun doesn't stop there. We recommend that you go to techtimeradio.com and join our fan list for the most important aspect of staying connected and winning some really great monthly prizes. We also have a few other ways to stay connected, including subscribing to our podcast on any podcast service, from Apple to Google and everything in between. We're also on YouTube, so check us out on youtube.com/techtimeradio, all one word. We hope you enjoyed the show as much as we did making it for you. From all of us at TechTime Radio, remember, Mumm's the word. Have a safe and fantastic week.